Good evening, everybody. We're going to get started in just a minute, and here I am. Hey guys, how are you? Everybody's still jumping on. There's a lot of people jumping on. We had a great response as far as registration, and people are logging on. So welcome, welcome, welcome. If you could say hello in the chat. Tell us where you're logging in from. I want to know where you're logging in from. What part of the country? What part of the world are you coming to us from? And make sure you got your Kangen water, because that's what this is all about. I'm so excited. We're going to get started in just a second. And what we're going to do this evening is we are recording this. And so once we, get everybody logged on and see who's who and what's what, we are going to start this over again. So I'm going to introduce myself again and so forth, and we're going to, start fresh so that we can edit the video later. So that's pretty cool. And the video will be available. So if you have teammates that couldn't be on, we will make this video available, and they'll have access to all of it. So, so Caroline is working the controls. This is training by Carl and Caroline.
Hi guys.
Hey, she's off screen, but you can hear her. So, where are people logging in from?
Wow, we got Pennsylvania in the house. We got South Carolina.
Wow.
North Carolina. Atlanta. Michigan. Orlando. Tampa. California. Southern California.
All over the country.
Wow.
That's great.
Greenwich, New York.
Greenwich, New York. All right.
Arizona's in the house. All right, we got everybody's in.
Everybody's in? All right, good.
We got, how many people? We got 48.
48 so far, but we had a lot more log in, so a lot more register.
So why don't you
so just, if you can hear me clearly, type number 1 into the chat. Number 1, if you can hear me clearly.
Yeah.
You got people hear me?
Let's see. I'm waiting.
Number 1 in the chat, if you can hear me clearly. We're going to get started.
I'm getting a 1.
You getting ones?
1 so far. Yep. 1.
Good.
One.
Great. Now, type in number 2 if you can see me clearly. You see this setup right here? Can you see this clearly? Type in number 2 in the chat.
I got it.
We got 2's coming?
I got 2's coming up.
2's coming up. All right. So what time is it? All right, it's 5 after. People are still logging on. We still got people coming on?
Yep.
Okay. That's all right. Like I said, we're gonna record this. It's gonna be available. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna start right now, and we'll jump right in. I'm gonna, I have some of my notes ready.
And if you guys have any questions, you can type them, and I'll try and answer them as we go.
Yeah. Can you hear Caroline? Because she's not mic'd. If you can hear Caroline, type number 3 in the chat. Can you hear Caroline's voice? Talk, Caroline.
Hi guys. Let's see. I got a lot of 1 and 2 so far.
1 and 2. You're probably more.
Can you hear me? Oh, I see the 3's. Good,
okay.
Good.
You're probably more in the background because the microphone's on me, but that's great. So, and she's going to feed me. If you have comments, if you have questions, if you have a specific question, put it there in the chat. We may not cover it today,
but we'll answer it.
But we'll answer it. And so this is. So let's get started. Right.
Yeah.
We're going to start all over again.
We got 50 on so far.
All right. Good. Okay. So welcome everybody to this Enagic presentation training. My name is Carl Carvalho. I'm a 6A2 with Enagic, and I am an Enagic certified senior trainer. And we have almost -2, and we have Caroline on the controls. So this is training with Carl and Caroline. Welcome. So we're really excited to bring this to you because I think there's a need for this type of training. To get everybody up and to present and to show people what we have, the importance of what we have. So welcome.
You've been getting a lot of requests for this.
And we've been getting a lot of requests for this. This is true. Now, this is part 1 of probably 2 parts. Maybe there'll be a part 3. And we'll explain at the end how to have access to that. We'll continue with the trainings, continue with the recordings, and everybody will have access to it. We're going to keep this under an hour today, all right? Because we want to keep it as short as possible so you have smaller bites to absorb all this information. And like I said, this is being recorded. You'll be able to have access to it, and we'll show you. We'll teach you how to do that at the end. So now this demo that I've been doing, I designed last November. So that's, 7 months ago. And it's because I wanted a different way to approach doing the demonstration. Now, everybody's got different ways to approach it. It depends on your market, right? Every market is different. And every segment of the market is different. Every country is different. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a health presentation that just appealed to the widest range of people as possible, speaking to those human needs and dissatisfactions that are in everybody's lives, and a way to introduce the business part of it, or at least the referral program part of it, in a very subtle way, because we don't want to turn people away, because we know statistically like 89, 90% of buyers are just end users. 11%, 10, 11% want to do the business, okay? And out of that 10 or 11%, only 10% of those are really serious about doing this business. So we don't want to turn people off saying that, oh, this is network marketing, I'm not into sales and all that stuff, but we don't want to lose that sale. We want to say, all right, this is the base of what we have. This is a platform. And the other thing, too, is I want to make it very clear that we are not selling water ionizers. That's not what I want to do. I want to sell or present or share the whole platform. We're looking at Enagic as a platform. Because a lot of times when we do talk to people, we're talking about the drinking or cooking water, 8.5, 9.0, 9.5. The machine makes 7 different waters. So we're ignoring all these other things, but we do show them in the demo. So I think it's important, and it goes way beyond that. It goes way beyond just being a water ionizer company, or a supplement company, or having the cleanest water on earth. It really goes into the lifestyle, and a lot of, especially the millennials that we're friends with and on our team, they're living that lifestyle, and we're all living that Enagic Kangen lifestyle. So the platform that we have is such a powerful platform, and I want to present that in a way that's appealing to everybody, and it touches everybody's lives. And so that's why I designed it this way. It also came out of us studying the residual income training that a lot of people have been studying on the Difference Maker Success call and so forth, where we talk about predictable success. Like if you take certain steps in your life, you're going to have predictable success. The same way if you take certain wrong steps in your life, you're going to have predictable failure. And so I really wanted to, that woven into this presentation and really make that clear so that by the time they come to the end of it, Enagic is the way. Enagic is the way that we want them to go, because it's not just a water ionizer. So it's the philosophy, it's the platform, it's the changing of lives, and all aspects of our lives. And that's Mr. Oshiro's vision, those founding principles that he started this company, all right? So that's where I'm coming from, we're coming from. Now, I've had a great response to this. And you have to understand, too, is that this demo is compliant because we have no testimonials, whether they're for health or for income. We don't show before and after pictures. We're not showing pictures of the colon and all of this stuff. Very compliant. And not only that, but Mr. Hirano-san, who is the director of sales of Enagic USA, has seen my demo. He's seen it live. And I even asked him, I said, is everything okay? Is everything good? He said, perfect. Absolutely, everything is good. We're not stepping on any toes. We're not crossing any lines. So we want it to be as clear as possible about that.
To me, I love it.
And a lot of the leaders have seen it, and they really love it. And the response has been great. We've been doing a lot of Facebook Lives lately. So if you are friends with us, or even if you're not, our timelines are public. And because we're doing them Facebook Live, anybody could be seeing it. So I want it to be as compliant as possible. And I'm going to touch on about Facebook Lives in a little bit. Well, actually, you know what? Let me go into it a little now. Our demos that we've been streaming live have been getting, up to 1,000, 2,000 views. And you have to realize the power of that. Because let's say you set up a demo and you get a handful of people, or you get a couple in the room, but yet you're streaming Facebook Live. You've just opened that 1 or 2 or 30 or 50 people in the room to potentially thousands of people. So like I said, my demos that I've been doing recently, 1,000 to 2,000 views per demo or higher, and they continue going up and up and up. So it's not only power for our teams, your teams, but getting people all over the world educated on what we have. So don't underestimate the power of Facebook Live. It's actually amazing. And people can comment and so forth, and you can always follow up with them.
You can get teams on.
We can get our teams on. So if somebody can't physically be there, they can dial in, they can tune in from anywhere they are, anywhere in the world. That's very, very powerful. So you don't have to physically be in the room anymore. Now we have this virtual room. Now, we try to stream Facebook Live as much as possible, okay? And the reason being, like I said, if it's expanding our audience, expanding our reach. Now, what we also do is I also announce, one of the techniques for doing live, especially if you want to draw people in, is 10 minutes before, 15 minutes, 5 minutes before, is announce that you're going live soon. And you're going to be sharing something exciting, or the special location that you're at, or something that's going to get their attention, because that notification is going to pop up. They're going to see it and go, oh, Carl's going live, or Caroline's going live, or Tamia's going live, or Romy's going live, or Rick Ercolano's going live. Boom. We want to tune in. I want to see what they're doing. I want to get other people on. And then once you get on, you want to tag your team. Tag them, or tag them even before you get on. But as you commenting, have your teammates, no matter where they are, make sure they are tuned in and they're commenting. Oh my God, you got to see what's going on here. It's actually incredible. You got to get your team, get people in, tune into this, and you're building that excitement, because as those comments are coming in and the hearts are coming in and the thumbs up are coming in, people are going to see that and they're going to be even more excited, and it just brings more energy to that presentation. So Facebook Live, do not underestimate it. And what you don't want to do, and I learned this from friends of mine, is you do not want to spam tag people.
I'm just gonna say.
Right? So yeah, you don't want to tag like 150 people. That's spam tagging. You're gonna tag some of the leaders. That's fine. You're gonna tag your team. That's fine. But then you could also call them out, or bring them in through the comments as well. So spam tagging, people aren't too crazy about that. So don't start just like tagging everybody.
And then if any of your team is doing a live, you want to support them. Jump on, and a lot of engagement,
exactly.
Likes. You want
to support your team. So if your team is doing a live, like Caroline said, you jump on. Even if you can only be on for a little bit, or a few minutes, or half of it, or whatever, just get on. Start commenting. Start liking. Start just like oohing and ahhing. And like, can you believe that? It changed that color. Can you believe that? So adding to that, because those comments are also recorded and will also be seen later.
It'll boost the post.
It'll boost the post as well, because more interaction, that's what Facebook's all about. That's what social media is all about, is interaction, bringing that message to an audience, and that audience finding value with it. So if there's more likes, more comments, more shares, have your team share it, it's going to boost the reach of that Facebook Live, and you're going to open up your audience even wider. All right, so that's a little Facebook Live thing. Now, keep in mind, I've been doing presentations for over 7 years now. Rick Ercolano is a 6A 5-2. He is my sponsor, and we are co-owners of the Health Success Center in Paramus, New Jersey. And we have done so many presentations. We've sat together. We've done them, tag team together. We've sat over webinars, just private webinars between the two of us, tweaking and polishing and this and that, and like trying to make it stronger and stronger and stronger. So in that practice, and that's one of the keys that I really want to get across to everybody, is practice, practice, practice. Is you just start to get better and better and better with this. The other challenge we always had is what do you include and what don't you include? What's the length? And people say, oh, it's always too long, right? Especially when you have distributors that come and they see it over and over again. They go, oh, presentation's too long. Now, we used to do presentations and they were 2 hours, hour 45. And people are like, oh, they're too long. So the first question I would ask them is, okay, what would you take out? And nobody could answer that question ever. What would you take out? Now, if you ask certain audience members, they would go, oh, well, the bottled water is not important. Take the bottled water out. Or, talking about the cleaning products, it's not important to them. So that's not really a good feedback for you because, again, we're looking at a general audience. Now, if you are talking to a specific audience, then you can change your banter, you can change how your focus on that. But again, a lot of times you don't know. There's a wide array of people, different ages, different segments of the market, and that you want to get this message across. So, like I said, every market, every country, there's going to present it a little bit differently. But what we're going to go into and show you is what's been really working, getting a really big response. So before the demo, let's talk about before the demo, before getting into it. We want to be prepared. And what we've done to help you with that.
Carl is a master at being prepared.
I'm a master at being prepared.
He's taught me very well.
I'm a little bit anal with that. You want to be as prepared as possible. So you have to realize that in my background, I went to acting school when I was younger. I studied acting full-time at a professional training facility in New York City. So an actor prepares. That's actually one of the books we study, An Actor Prepares. So you want to have everything ready. You want to make sure you test everything, and I'm going to go through all of that. And to help you with that is we've created PDFs, and these are going to be available. We'll show you how to get access to these. We've got a checklist, supplies checklist PDF. We've got tech suggestions checklist. We're going to go over this today. And then we also have training on edification guidelines. And I'm going to go over that because edification is extremely important. And when we go through this part today, you're going to understand why, and you're going to say, we will never, ever not edify before a presentation ever, ever, ever again, okay? So you want to be prepared. You want to be prepared. Earl will be happy. Yeah. All right, so be prepared. All the supplies you need. So let's go through that. Supplies checklist. Now, this is what I use, what we use in our demos, and it's not in any particular order, but again, that PDF is going to be available. So as you can see from this table, and you want always have your water, right? Because if you're talking a lot, your mouth's going to get dry, and you need to have your Kangen water. It's also, it's also a good example to your audience. So starting right here, now, wherever you are in the country, you might have different brands that are more popular. What we're using is more national brands. If you're in a different country, you may have a different selection here, but this is what we use on every single demo. Even though somebody else might drink a different water, that's okay. So we're going to start, we have Sprite. So we're going to use clear liquids, and I say that in the demo. Clear liquids for testing purposes, and they'll understand why as the demo unfolds. So first we're using a soda. So we're using Sprite. Some people do use 7-Up and that sort of thing, but Sprite is a clear soda. Next we have, I'm using Propel because it's readily available as a clear liquid. Sometimes we use Gatorade, but it's hard to find clear Gatorade. They do have a Gatorade that is frosted. It's white, it's frosted. It actually works pretty well because the drops still show up. Testing the ORP, all of that works well. But Propel. So that's your sports drinks. We use Perrier because this is a very popular beverage. It's just sparkling water and bubbles. Then we go into the popular bottled waters. We have Dasani, which is made by Coca-Cola. Aquafina, which is made by Pepsi. #1 and #2 seller in the United States in a $13 billion a year industry. So you know that they're #1 and #2. Very, very big sellers. Then we have Poland Spring, okay, because that's also #3 in bottled water, but #1 in those 5-gallon jugs. You see those trucks all over the place. And then we use Smart Water because Smart Water is quite popular. Then we have our tap water. So part of it is the tap water you're going to get at the location, but you need the container. You need a little pitcher that you're going to put the tap water in. We just have a little cheapy, you just get it at the dollar store. You don't want this to look glamorous, right? Because you want, psychologically, you want to say this tap water is not too pretty, right? And then, of course, you have your Kangen water, 9.5 pH. You run really slowly. You want that ORP as high as possible.
But make sure the chasing arrows are there.
Yeah, make sure the chasing arrows, sometimes the machine will say, increase flow. You just make sure those chasing arrows are still on the screen so that you know that you're still ionizing it, okay?
Run beauty water first for a little bit.
You can run beauty water first because, running beauty water changes the polarity on the plates, and that helps keep the mineral patterns down. So it's a way to clean your machine.
When it's frozen.
So we're going to use, you want to have, what we use is tumblers, these plastic tumblers. These are 9-ounce tumblers. You can get them at Costco and get them in the supermarket, ShopRite, or whatever. They tend to work really well. They're short, 9 ounces. So you're going to need at least 2 dozen of those for your demo. I do use, and I'm going to show you why, just 3 of these 16-ounce clear glasses or plastic cups. Okay, and you're going to understand why. Maybe not in this training, but in the next segment, you'll see why. This whiteboard here, we're going to show you where to get access to that. It's not there yet, but we're going to add that to it. To have this whiteboard, I put the designs together, so you literally can print it out and you can have a handyman make it, or if you're good with tools, you can make this so simply. It's really nice to have because the white in the back reflects light and you can see the colors and everything better, and the bottles just sit behind. Paper towels, you always want to have paper towels on hand. I don't have them right here, but paper towels on hand all the time. I use a chopstick for a stir stick. You can use little plastic stirrers. You can use whatever you want, but a lot of times you're going out to eat Chinese food, right? And you end up with the chopsticks. Chopstick works really well. A spoon to stir the tomatoes. So I have a slotted spoon here, which is good because you can end up, use it to drain. You could also use a funnel. I put that on this list too, because sometimes, if you're a little nervous and you're pouring that water out when we get to cleaning tomatoes, this is really nice because you can just pour it into this wide mouth funnel and the water comes out. Now, sometimes those cherry tomatoes get stuck in the hole, so you might have to just shake it up and down a little bit to let the water drain out. So that's also a handy thing to have for the tomatoes. Then what do we have here? A container for discarding water, because sometimes you're not sure where you're set up. You can have a bucket, or you can have, we went to Costco and we got this. So this is like a food storage container, like a restaurant would use. This happens to be 6 liters or 6 quarts, and it's got a nice snap top. So if you go into somebody's home or you're in some remote location and there's not a sink available, it's really cool because this will hold all the liquids, discarded liquids. You snap it on and you can take it with you and dump it out and clean it later. So this is pretty cool. It comes in really handy, especially if you're in a hotel, if you're in a doctor's office or something and you don't have, you're not nearby a sink. This is really, really cool to have. And I think they came in 3s. Two-pack. Your 2-pack. It's very, very inexpensive and really handy to have. So that's for discarding water. Now, 2 glass bowls. Now we use glass, but you can, if you wanted to, you can use the 16-ounce plastic cups for the tomatoes. We tend to use the glass bowls, even when we travel. We put, a cloth in between them, so they're padded. They're padded when we travel. But the glass bowls are sort of nice. You set them up, you put your tomatoes in it. So
you can put Kangen and tap.
Yeah, you can put labels on. Some people put labels on it, Kangen water, tap water.
You don't mix them up.
You don't mix them up, but so that's important to have. You want a bottle of 2.5. I use a glass bottle of 2.5, and we put our labels on it. And you can see we have labels. And Caroline's going to share with you in the comments, and we'll share with you how to get these labels. And it has a nice little cheat sheet right on the label, so it's really cool how you educate people and they know what to do. So a 2.5 a glass bottle of 2.5. You want to have spray bottle with 6.0 beauty water because we're going to use that during the demo. And again, here's our Beauty and Shine label, and it's got some the cheat sheet right on there as well, and they're all color coded. You see that? Yellow for beauty water, slightly acidic water. So you want to have a fresh bottle. Make a fresh bottle every time. Don't let it sit in your car or your purse. Make it fresh every time. You want to have the best and the highest quality ingredients going into this demo. All right, the next is you want a bottle of 11.5. And we use these half-gallon black jugs. Caroline just showed you a link where we have, you can buy supplies on our website. And again, the labels, this is the label for 11.5. So you want a fresh bottle of 11.5 and test it. Make sure you test it that it can emulsify the oil before you go into the demo. And that's one thing I really strive and really tell all of my distributors, test, test, test. You want to control this environment. You want to control this atmosphere as much as possible. So you want a bottle of 11.5. You need a pitcher, like I said, for tap water. You need your ORP meter, okay? I tend to use, and this is what I learned from day one, a pinpoint ORP. You can buy them from marinedepot.com. They're not expensive. Make sure you get the calibration fluid with it. But this, and you'll see when I do the demo, when we go through the explanation of the demo, you can see I have it soaking, the probe is soaking in the 2.5. So if you set that up, as you set up the demo, by the time you get to that, that tip has been cleaned, oxidized, it's ready to go, and this will be consistent for you every single time. And if your batteries get weak, change the battery. It's a 9-volt battery, but every single time. Always have extra batteries. Always have extra batteries with you. Be prepared.
And how often should they calibrate that?
I mean, they recommend calibrating it once a month, but I mean, I'm doing it every other month or every 3 months, as long as it's been consistent for me, I don't really calibrate it. And I do a lot of demos with it, and a lot of time goes by. And as well, if you soak it in the 2.5 before, and you want to make sure that the ORP gets to a positive 900 or higher, then I know it's ready. If your 2.5 is weak and it's below that, it's not oxidizing the tip. That's how it works. It's a little metal tip, oxidizes it, cleans it nice, and then it'll be consistent every single time. I mean, this one's reading a positive 1106.
Yeah,
okay,
that's where it's always at.
It's always at it. We have a nice, strong 2.5. You want to have your green tea bag. Now, we tend to use Lipton. Lipton tea bags you can get them anywhere. Lipton green tea is very consistent, very inexpensive to buy. That's what we tend to use is Lipton green tea bags. A bottle of pH test drops and Magic pH test drops. The reason being is this will match the pH test chart that it comes with your machine. And it's also consistent. Some of the other drops that are out there might not have as wide a range as this has, because don't forget, this is going from 11 point or 9.5 all the way down to 2.5. And just a side note, you don't want to use litmus paper, because I know some people say, oh, they get litmus paper and they're testing their pH or testing the pH of the waters. Litmus paper is a different chemical tester, and it does not work with ionized water. It just doesn't work. I know litmus paper comes with for the 2.5. That's what it's for in the strips that come in the machine. I've never used them. I've already used the Magic pH test drops. Okay, you want to use that branded bottle. What else we have? Tomatoes. You want to make sure you have tomatoes. So we've been using NatureSweet tomatoes. That's what we've been getting. They're produced in Mexico. They're conventionally grown. Even though I tell everybody organic is still sprayed. Organic is sprayed. They're just sprayed with organic poison. They want to kill you organically, okay? Now, NatureSweet makes several different varieties, different brand, names here. The ones that we've been using lately are Constellation.
And they work very nice.
Because they had Glories and they had Cherubs and all of that. And I think they've been getting, happy because we've been using them a lot and throughout the country, and they've been changing the pesticides because they're not changing the color of the water. The taste difference is still there, but the Constellations do have a color change. The taste change is still there, the color change. So, but always test. If you find a brand that's in your neighborhood or in your area, buy it ahead of time, buy a couple containers of it and test it. Make sure you test it. Make sure you can see if there's a color difference. Sometimes they do demos, there's no color difference. That's okay. As long as the taste difference is there, that's the big thing. But if there is a color difference, that visual is so powerful that people see that and they're like, whoa, what is that? Okay. So NatureSweet Constellation tomatoes is what we've been using in our area. We're in the Northeast, but I think it's a national brand. You can find them around. All right, let's continue. Sesame seed oil. All right. Now you can buy different varieties. Trader Joe's toasted sesame seed oil works really well, and that's what we tend to use a lot. The other day we ran out and we were going to a demo, so we just went to a store. I think we went to ShopRite, and this is Roland sesame seed oil. Walmart sells the sesame seed oil. It's got a yellow cap on it. That works really well as well. You just want a simple sesame seed oil and test it. Test it, because if it doesn't blow up for whatever reason, they might have other ingredients in that oil that screws up that test, and you want to be sure that it blows up for you. It emulsifies, it saponifies, okay? All right, so sesame seed oil. Now, we're going to be covering probably in the next one, but if you've seen my lives, you want some vitamin C powder. Now, I went to CVS. Again, CVS I think is a national brand, but we have them around here. Just plain vitamin C powder. And we use this as part of our demo to visibly demonstrate the antioxidant properties and how antioxidants work. So you want powdered vitamin C. You want betadine or an iodine solution. I tend to use betadine, first aid solution. You can get it in most health food stores. I think I ordered this through Amazon. Betadine or iodine. It's they use it in hospitals. They use it for surgical prep. People have cuts and bruises and whatever. It's just disinfectant, okay? But it's pro-oxidant. And once you see what we do with this, it's just absolutely amazing. So we use this and the vitamin C and water together to give you a visual of what the antioxidant, how an antioxidant works and how powerful an antioxidant Kangen water is. All right, but actually we have a 1/4 teaspoon, metal teaspoon. This happens to be stainless steel. Actually, this is a 1/2 teaspoon. I got to change that on there. This is a 1/2 teaspoon stainless steel measuring cup, because in a 16-ounce cup, when I fill this to the top, with tap water, that's what I'm putting in, is a 1/2 teaspoon, level 1/2 teaspoon of betadine or iodine. That's the perfect. Amount. That's just the right amount. The perfect solution for what we're going to show you. All right. You want to have your order forms, okay? You want to have your order forms, because at the end of the demo, you want to say to your guests and you want to say to your distributors, take out the order forms. Give them to your guest right now, okay? Have them fill out the first section, because find out where they want the machine shipped. Find out what name you want the checks written in, okay? Take out the order forms, because that'll psychologically get them to say, okay, I'm going to start to make this commitment. Does that make sense?
Explain, even if they don't want to give their credit card, then
exactly. So let's say
that.
Right. So that's a good point, Caroline. So let's say that somebody says, "Well, I'm not ready to buy yet." That's okay. So what I said, where they say, like, I want to apply for a credit card, or I want to get financing through it, not a problem. Fill out the form completely. I'll help you do it right now, and then you can sign the area where the credit card section is, but you're not putting a credit card number down. What that does is they fill out the forms completely with all the signatures in the right place. You take the forms back with you. The power of that is they can give you a credit card number over the phone. So you don't have to, especially if they're remote from you, they take those forms with them. Now you got to get the forms with them, or they got to scan them, or you got to fax them.
It works really well. It's like a mental decision.
This mental decision, they're making it on some part of them. They're making a commitment, and you can say, listen, you're not giving me payment information right now, but let's just fill this out. I'll have it on file. I can't submit it because you didn't give me payment information, but when you're ready, you're going to call me up and you're going to give me that payment information over the phone.
And there's no delays.
There's no delays. Then we have it. You already have the paperwork. You're ready to go. Does that make sense?
Very well.
Always have order forms. And the last one on this list is pens. How many times have you got people, I don't have a pen. Do you have a pen? Oh my God, he's ready to buy. You need to bring pens. So be prepared. Be prepared, okay? You don't have to be anal and crazy about it, but just be prepared. So, and then we have one paragraph on the bottom of this checklist. You can use, like I said before, whatever popular clear sodas, sports drink, bubbly waters, any of that, bottled waters in your area, whatever's the most popular, or you know that your audience is drinking, you can use that. But test them ahead of time. Be sure you test them. Test the ORP, okay, and the pH beforehand, so there's no surprises, okay? Now sometimes, what's that?
Just giving you a time check, 7:35.
Okay. Now, and you always want to test, like I said, you always want to test your 11.5 as well. Be prepared. No surprises. Control your demo. It says it right there on the bottom. Okay, so that's the supply list. Now, let's talk about tech. I'm not going to get really heavily technical. I am a tech guy, but some people have PCs, some people have Macs, some people have tablets. They have different devices. Now, a really good friend of mine, she's really sweet, really passionate about the water, but she wasn't doing demos in the beginning because she couldn't figure out the tech. She wasn't technical. She didn't know what plugs into what and what did she need it and this and that. So she stepped back and didn't do demos for a long, long time. Then finally, she had that inner voice said, you know what? This is something that I should be able to do. So she sought counsel. She sought help. She had a friend come over, and they were like, oh, just do this, this, this. She took some notes. She's like, it was that easy.
Always reach out for help.
Always reach out for help. Reach out, cross-line, upline. We're going to be setting up a Facebook group. That's going to be coming with these trainings. We're going to set up a private, closed Facebook group You can put your questions in there. Like I said, I'm a tech guy. I love tech, right? I'm like, toys and all that stuff. I'm a problem solver. I know how to figure that out. I'm a Mac guy, but I've worked with PCs. I can get anything to work, okay? Projectors and screens and all of this stuff, all right? So this is really just a suggestions list. There's not a lot on here, but you want to have your laptop or you want to have your device. It could be on a tablet, an iPad or a tablet. You need your slideshow file. Now, we are going to give you access to the slideshow that we're going to be training on in two formats, both in Mac Keynote and also in Microsoft PowerPoint. So you're going to have that both, same exact thing, so that you can do them. If you're on an iPad, you can use the Keynote. If you're on a computer that you have PowerPoint, you can use PowerPoint. You want a computer remote, okay? There's all different varieties. You can buy this happens to be a Logitech. It's a small little one. It works on a Mac. It works on a PC. It's got a little dongle that comes out. You plug it into your USB port, and you click the buttons. It works really well. And this one happens to have, you got to turn it on, a laser pointer as well, okay? Which if you're using a screen, a projector screen, that works well. Obviously, if you're shooting into an LCD or flat screen, the light gets absorbed. You don't see it, so you end up using your finger. Okay?
Always have extra batteries.
Always have extra batteries too. This uses, I think, AAA. Always have extra batteries. You need an HDMI cable. So HDMI is the cable or the port that most flat screens are using today. All right. A lot of projectors have, especially the newer ones, have HDMI built in. That's that plug that if you plug in your devices into your TV, all of your cable boxes now, they're probably connecting that way as well. HDMI cable. A lot of your laptops and computers now have an HDMI port. That being said, if you have an older model or a computer that does not have an HDMI, like for instance, I have a MacBook Pro, it's got an HDMI port. Caroline has a MacBook Air. A lot of people have MacBook Airs. It does not have a HDMI port. So they have an adapter. So you want to get an adapter. If you don't have that port, get an adapter. Go to your favorite electronics store, Best Buy, look online, seek counsel from somebody. But you want to get the port that connects your computer via HDMI to a flat screen, to a monitor, to a projector, and so forth. Okay.
You can always put that link in the Facebook group.
We can always put that link, but there's so many different varieties. You really have to just seek the right adapter for your port, because the MacBooks have a specific port coming out of it. The PCs and laptops will have a different port out of it. If you're using a tablet, that port is completely different than a computer, but they have adapters that go to HDMI. So you want to make sure you have that in your bag. Now, some projectors, if you are going to be doing a demo and there's going to be a projector, some of them, especially the older models, don't have HDMI built into it. Even newer models, they use what's called VGA, and you have to just make sure that you have a VGA adapter. The same thing, plugs into your port, your media port coming out of your computer, whether it's a Mac or PC, going to VGA. And that way you can connect that and get that projected properly, okay? You may want to have a flat screen TV. We have a 32-inch, it's an LED, very inexpensive, very light TV, and it's big enough, a 32-inch is big enough for a decent sized room. So if you are going to be doing demos and stuff, and if it's larger than a handful of people, your screen may be too small on your device. So having that TV, what's really nice though is a lot of people, if you're going to their homes, they probably have a flat screen somewhere. They might have them in the kitchen or you set up in the living room. But if not, have a 32-inch with you. Like I said, very inexpensive, very light.
So light.
They're so light. They have speakers built into them, and the technology today is incredible. This table here that you're looking at, this is a folding table, and you can see that it's high, right? So the legs telescope. What's nice about that, I think this is probably a 5-foot table, maybe a 4-foot table. Very light. It folds up like a suitcase. You can bring that with you. So if you're going to do a demo and you don't know what to expect, again, be prepared. Just throw it in your car. Just have it in there. So in case you do need an extra table or something like that, you have that with you. Now, we also have a smaller folding table, which I can't show you because we have you have to see the tech that's all set up here. Caroline's using a smaller table, like if you wanted to put extra supplies or your laptop or something like that. Again, these are suggestions. I'm not saying that you have to have all of this. It's just that we have it because we've run into so many different situations. And then finally, you can have a projector. There's many different models out there. I have one that's called the Cumi. It's about this big, very, very small. It's a small digital projector. It's got HDMI and all of that stuff. It fits on a tripod like you would put a camera tripod or a video. So it's really easy to set up. You can get a mini tripod for it. It works really well. Very sharp, clean. It's bright enough. I mean, if you're going to do a demo in a huge hall, it's not going to be bright enough for that. You're going to need a much more powerful projector. But that's something you may want to consider. If you go any place that's got a white wall, you could just project right up on the wall. It's pretty cool. And then, again, a suggestion, a projector screen. You don't have to have it, but again, I'm a tech guy, so I always have that with me. I have a foldable one. It goes to 80 inches, so it's a pretty big screen. You can project on it, and everybody, if you're in a bigger demo, a bigger room. So again, the tech you need depends on the type of your computer or tablet you've got. Macs and PCs, they have similar ports, but each device can be configured differently. So just, figure it all out, get somebody to help you. You can get a local high school kid, especially if you go to the theater department, you go into the techies and stuff, you can say, listen, I'll pay you a few bucks. Just, I need to figure out how to do this, to this, to this. And they'll be like, oh, just need this, this, this. Just take some notes and go out and buy what you need. And test it. If it doesn't work, return it. But once you get that figured out, you'll know exactly what you need to do. All right? So that is also available. That's going to be available to you. So that's the tech suggestions as well. So, all right, be prepared, supplies needed. We went over that. Okay, let's talk about dress code. All right? You want to appear professional. You want to, every audience is different, right? If you're presenting in front of millennials, maybe you're going to be more casual, okay? If you're presenting in front of business executives, you may want, for the guys, a shirt and a tie and a jacket, okay? Oftentimes, I have at least a button-down shirt. If it's warmer out, it'll just be button-down shirt and slacks. I could put on a jacket, but I usually keep the collar open and that sort of thing. If it's much more corporate, much more formal, you could throw on the tie. Ladies, the same thing. Anything that you would wear in a business situation, it could be you don't want to get anything that's too far out, too funky, unless that appeals to your audience. You have to know who your audience is. But if you just keep it professional, keep it clean, then no matter what situation you walk into, you're going to be prepared and you're going to look professional because that reflects on what we're presenting. And don't forget, we've got a high ticket item here. So we want to be professional. We want to look professional. Now here's a little hint. Studies have shown the color blue, people respond to much, much more. They've done studies with salespeople in department stores and so forth, and they've, same exact approach and same exact words that they're using with people, and all they're doing is changing the color of the shirts from, blue and red and green and da-da. Blue, by far, people respond to and buy from that salesman more often than not. And obviously, I'm wearing purple today. This is the shirt that I got at the Enagic Convention in 2015. Obviously, purple is our theme, right? So just dress appropriately. Don't dress sloppily and all that. Be professional. It's a reflection of you. It's a reflection of who we are, our platform in the company, all right? Now, let's get into edification. How much time I got? How are we doing?
At 7:45.
Okay, good.
We can go a little bit past 5 after since
we started late. Okay, so also there's a 3-page PDF that's going to be available, and I want to go over edification. Now, this is something that's extremely, extremely important. I'm going to read part of this here. To edify means to build or to establish a person or a thing. When used properly, edification builds up the effectiveness of the presenter and establishes them as an authority or someone we should pay attention to. That's important, right? Because we want to have our audience pay attention to the presenter. And so we want that presenter to be seen in a good light. Don't forget, the presenter has a relationship with the audience, right? There's a rapport there. There's a give and take there. There's an energy exchange there. And you want that to start off on the right foot, all right? Now, there's a concept in marketing called the pre-frame, all right? People who study neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, talk a lot about pre-frame, okay? Edification is a form of pre-frame. Now, I want to read this to you because this is a really cool thing. The pre-frame is simply a state of mind you place someone in as they get ready to hear the presentation. So you're setting a tone, okay? It's just like in the theater, when we talk about like a production, Stanislavski talked about this. This is a famous Russian acting teacher. He said, the moment someone steps in the theater is when the show begins. And it's the same thing with our presentation. The moment someone steps into the room is when our presentation begins, because people start observing. They see interactions between teammates. They see interactions between people. Is there a frenetic energy in the room? Is it calm and professional and clean? Okay, so it's all about psychology. Okay, so it's really a state of mind. By changing the state of mind, the mindset of the audience, you can have a profound. You can profoundly change the experience they have. Okay, now we do this all the time without realizing it. Okay, this pre-frame. So, for example, when a husband asks his wife, he wants to ask his wife for a favor, right? So, guys out there, if you're married or you have, significant others, you might want to pay attention to this, right? So, let's say you want to ask your wife a favor. So, you may go and say, "Wow, you're really looking beautiful today," right? You want to do it sincerely, Thanks so much for doing all this great stuff with the kids tonight. All right, so you're complimenting and this and that. I'd really appreciate you spending the evening with them. And then you ask for the favor, right? I'm just curious, do you mind if I go and hang out with my buddies tonight? So what do you think her mindset? Her mindset's like, oh, my husband loves me, he appreciates what I'm doing. Sure, honey, go out and, have fun with the guys, okay? So that's a pre-frame. It's changing your audience state of mind, okay? Now, what would happen if the presenter was edified this way? I want to bring up to the front of the room a guy I know is a scam artist. He swindled me out of money and he's unethical. This guy's a liar and I certainly do not trust him. Let's welcome John Doe to the stage and see this presentation. What do you think that pre-frame is going to be? So everybody's going to be on edge, well, I don't want to pay attention to this guy. I'm going to hold back. I'm going to be afraid, right? On the other hand, what happens if John was edified this way? I want to bring up to the stage a person I have a tremendous amount of respect for. I had the pleasure of meeting him about 3 years ago, and he made quite an impression on me. This gentleman has a simple way of explaining things, and he certainly has helped me grow my business and my life considerably. Let's welcome John Doe to the stage and see this presentation. You see how that pre-frame just completely changes, right? Now, what's really interesting is there is a book out there called Sway, The Irresistible Pull of Irrational Behavior by Ori and Ram Brafman. Now, there's a story, and I'm going to paraphrase this. There's a story in that book. There was a study done at MIT, and there was a class of about 70 economics students, and they had a substitute teacher, a guest teacher coming in to speak to the class, all right? Now, since the professor was new, the students were given a short biography about the teacher to read before the teacher came up. So that's the edification, okay? They had the short bio. The bios that handed out to the students, they were all identical except for one phrase, just one phrase difference, okay? It praised the teacher's graduate work in economics, and it listed his various fabulous accomplishments. Then half the bios, so half the students got a bio that described the professor as a very warm person. That's the only phrase difference. While the other half described him as rather cold. Okay, the bio is exactly the same, glowing reviews, except for that one phrase, a very warm person or rather cold. That was the only difference, okay? After the lecture, each student was asked to fill out a survey to see how they liked the teacher, all right? Because again, it's relationship. Do you like the presenter? Do you like the person? The ones who received the warm bio said they loved him, okay? They said he was good-natured, considerate of others, and sociable. It's pretty cool, right? The students who received the cold bio, this is interesting, didn't like him at all. One phrase, didn't like him at all. They said he was self-centered, formal, irritable, and ruthless. Isn't that interesting? So these students all sat through the same lecture, and the pre-frame changed the perception of what they were witnessing. That's the power of edification. Okay, that's the power of edification. So we do it all the time in our lives. Okay, so an example is, let's say you want two friends to get together. You start bragging about your friend. Oh, he does this and this and this. You're going to set that up, right? Or, you know, when we talk about Kangen Water, we do the same thing. It's like when we're enthusiastically sharing what we love about Kangen Water, a favorite restaurant, a new phone, or that last superhero movie we just saw. We're edifying. We're building up. Okay, that's what edification means, right? So you want to edify the presenter before the demo or a three-way call. You want to get them up there. You want to put them up on a pedestal almost, right? Because if we blankly said, hey, this is John Doe, he's really great, and he's going to tell us about some really cool stuff. It's not going to do anything. It's going to be pretty flat, right? So people are like, okay, ho-hum, and they're not going to do it, right? So the relationship starts on a weak ground. You don't want it to start on a weak ground. You want it to start on a solid ground, solid foundation. So it's a cornerstone for successful events, if you really think about it, all right? Setting up that pre-frame, setting up that mindset for the audience. All right, now in our business, edification is helpful anytime we make an introduction. So if you're introducing your upline, you're introducing a leader in the business, you're introducing anybody, you want to edify them, all right? Now, here's a simple thing, and there's more to it. I'm just going through this quickly. Simple format you could start with. Pick 1 to 3 things about the person's achievements, all right? What they've actually achieved, their successes. Pick 1 to 3 things that you appreciate and admire about them. And then, if applicable, you can mention their family, children, so forth. So it makes them real, makes them a real person, okay? Beautiful. Just like you and me, just like the person we're talking to. Yeah, I might be, you know, big wiggy wig up here, and we're doing all this stuff, but I'm just like you. I'm just like you. I breathe like you. I eat like you, just like, okay? Now, you never want to exaggerate, make stuff up, okay? Oh, this guy leaps tall buildings, and he can stop a train with one finger. You don't want to do that, right? You want to be truthful, okay? You can always find positive things to say. So here's an example. I want you to meet a good friend of mine. She's an amazing leader and a trainer who's having tremendous success in her business, and she's helping a lot of people. What I love about her is she's so humble and down to earth, and she's just a great mom. Please help me welcome to the front of the room Jenny Smith, or whomever, okay? Now, it's just that simple. Now, you may never have met Jenny, but now you've got a certain sense of her, okay? Now, there's also one other important thing that I want to talk about. One other thing too, is if you add the name at the end, even though you know who's coming up, who's being edified, it just builds that suspense a little bit. You talk about this person, builds that suspense, and then all of a sudden, boom, you mention the person's name and everybody's clapping. Now, there's another thing, a couple other things. One thing is you want to avoid techno-babble. Just like when we share Kangen Water with people, avoid the techno-babble. Don't talk about the plates and the power supplies and all. It just goes over people's head and it makes their eyes go all glassy. The same thing, especially in an audience where, you know, it's all people that are new to this. And they'll say, oh, you know, this guy is a 6A11-5 and blah, 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 and talk about their rank and all. They don't know what that means. And because they don't know what it means, maybe they'll feel like, well, maybe I should know what that means. I feel a little stupid, and you're not setting the right mindset. Does that make sense? All right. And there's something also, what I call the boomerang edify, okay? And what that means is when you get somebody up, okay, you edify them, you say, you know, really excited, you edify them, you bring them up. Now, that person that was just edified, the presenter, needs to boomerang the edification back to the person who just edified them, okay? Because that person who edified them, maybe they have guests in the room. Maybe they have family, maybe they have friends in the room, okay? So by boomeranging it back to them, you know, I just want to give it right back to Caroline. I'm so proud of her. You know, she's a mom, and she's been working 100-hour weeks, and she wanted a better life, and boomerang it right back. Same format, raise them back, raise them up, build them up, because it builds this mutual respect all around the room, and it really raises the vibration in the room. It's so powerful, that boomerang edification. All right? Stay humble. You know, as a presenter, you get all these accolades, come up here, and you're like, don't let your head get really big, right? Just stay humble. Anyway, we've got this PDF as well. It will be available. You can get that as well. Edification is super important. All right, presentation tips. Let's talk about that. Let's connect with the audience. Now, people say, oh, public speaking. I'm so shy of public speaking. Don't think of this as public speaking. Think of this as you're educating someone or you're sharing from your heart. okay? And start with people, one or two people. Start with one person. Like you're going to have coffee or tea with a friend. Start practicing on that level, or a couple people. Once you start practicing, you're going to be much more comfortable doing this, right? And then you can just start connecting better. The response that I get from people is, from audience members, no matter how large the room, it could be 1,000 people in the room, it could be a handful of people in the room. A lot of feedback that I got is like, wow, you really connected with me. I felt like you were talking to me. And what I do is I look around the room. Okay, now you may be shy. One acting technique is, especially on live stage, is just look, because a lot of times with lights and stuff, you can't actually see the audience on a live stage production. So you just pick a point in the back of the room and you pick several points and you move your eyes through there. What you want to do with this sort of presentation is you want to connect with your audience. Look them in the face. Look them in the eye. You could just glance and just bounce around the room, okay? I mean, your gaze could be soft. It doesn't have to be like laser focused, but glance around the whole room and just keep moving, presenting around the room, different places and this and that. People will feel much more appreciated, like you're talking directly to them. You're connecting with them. And having that connection, that relationship, is just going to boost how they absorb this information, okay? You want to smile a lot, right? Because people like smiles. People respond to that. If you're always walking around like this, people are not going to respond to that. Smile a lot. You want to use voice dynamics. Now, in the beginning, when I started, I was watching presenters of all different companies, right? It could be, mindset. It could be, personal development. It could be Enagic distributors and leaders. I was watching DVDs and presentation styles. The ones that I resonated to are the ones that they varied their voice. Sometimes they got more intimate. They lowered their voice, or they made, they were a little bit more animated. They got really excited. They were like, "Can you see that? Oh my God, can you see that?" So raising your voice, bringing it down, being more animated with it. Those voice dynamics will definitely not put your audience to sleep, because you remember those college professors, well, they just talk in monotone and just go on and on. It's just like, you're out. You're not going to pay attention. Your mind starts drifting. Just keep it lively. Keep it lively. Keep your voice. Bring it up. Bring it down. This and that. And use humor. Yeah. I like Zig Ziglar said, you can set your watch to it. He said, every 9 minutes, I'm going to send you a funny. I'm going to send you a zinger. Because that, just like if you're in a movie, right, and you're watching a movie and your mind starts drifting, or you get onto your phone and all of a sudden the audience starts laughing around you, what happens? Boom. Your focus goes, what did he say? What did he say? Your focus goes right back up. So if you keep doing it, their focus is going to stay with you. All right? So build humor into it. And if you're not that funny, then go to your funniest friend and say, listen, I need help to be funny. Build something into it. Just, use your natural sense of humor. Be as natural as possible, right? Now, some people can be silly and all of that. Whatever resonates for you, whatever that personality trait is for you, use humor. Humor, and I get that a lot too. It's like, wow, I loved, and people remember humor. They'll remember it more than some technical detail. They'll remember the humor. They'll remember that relationship, okay? Touch your heart. If you're telling something, this has also been studied, it's like body dynamics. When you're talking to somebody and you want to make a really heartfelt statement, or you really want them to touch, you can bring your voice down and say, listen, this really touched me. This is really important to me. And that's why I really paid attention to this. You see how the energy just like, boom, just came right down? Mm-hmm. So it's really, really important. You can use that as body dynamics, touch your heart. Look them in the eye. There's another thing in marketing, it's called the trial close. When I first heard this, I'm like, you're asking them for the sale? I don't get it. You didn't even start yet. A trial close means is you're throwing in a question that what your goal is, and this is my goal too. When I present, I want to see the heads going up and down. The more and more you see heads in the audience going up and down, like they're agreeing with you, what does this mean? You're going to buy? Yeah, I'm going to buy. So the trial close is a question where you're going to get them to nod up and down.
And agree.
Okay? So, would you agree with that? Pesticides are bad. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
You could even nod your head as well. Would you agree with that? Yes. Okay? Isn't that incredible? Do you see how important that is? Yes. Do you see how this is a success pattern? And following the success pattern is going to make you healthier?
You do
see
that
it like
all the time.
I do that all the time. And people, boom, boom, boom. And I know I've had a successful demo when I see the heads going up and down. You're not going to reach everybody, but the heads are going up and down. And if your neighbor or somebody in front of you, their heads are going up and down, guess what? Their heads are going to start going up and down. And you're smiling at them, and you're getting them, and you're laughing with them.
And the connection.
That connection is so strong. So the trial closes. Little tiny questions to get them to, yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. Very, very important. Now, we're almost out of time today. So in part 2, we're going to jump right into the slides. We're going to go slide by slide by slide. But I want to talk about, it's a film concept, a film phrase called mise en scène. Mise en scène, it's a French phrase. Mise en scène means placing on stage, okay? It's an expression used to describe the design aspect of a theater or film production, which essentially means visual theme or telling a story, both visually artful ways through storyboarding and so forth. I took a class when I was in high school about the, like studying the old-time filmmakers, and in filmmaking, especially with the old-time, the classics, the giants from the past, is everything that was in a frame that you saw in a movie was put there on purpose. It was put there on purpose by the designer, by the director, for a specific effect, for a specific, reason. And the same thing here. So this is the point I want to make about the slides, because a lot of people say, well, the slide comes up and I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. If you know what the purpose of the slide is, in your own words, if you know what the purpose, why is that mise en scène, why is that there, then you know exactly what to say. The slides are really just a little cue to sort of keep you on track. Now, I didn't use the PowerPoint to do this part of it, but it keeps you on track. So if you know what the slide is for, and you know what the point is that you're trying to make, that's just a reminder, right? But it's there for a purpose. It's there in the presentation because you're taking them on a journey. There's an arc to the presentation. So you want them, you just need to understand why the slide is there, and then the words will naturally come to you, and especially when you practice and practice and practice. You say, okay, why is the slide there? What's the point I'm trying to make? What is that teaching moment, that lesson, that pearl that we're trying to bring that in? Okay?
That's very important.
Very important.
Because that's where I used to get stuck.
Yeah,
I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, Caroline, a lot of people are like that. They don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. It's okay. It's okay. And even if you make a mistake, the audience doesn't know that.
I
the
just
people
put
in front
that
of
in
you
the comments.
does not know that, right? So just keep moving on. It's just like an actor on stage. They flub a line, but you just keep moving on, right? You don't say, oh, you don't apologize. You don't stop. Blah, 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 right? Now, you just keep moving on. The show continues.
And
you
the
don't
next
stop.
one,
The next one, you won't forget it, okay?
Next time.
So that's why, so mise en scène, stay positive and upbeat, okay? Even if you, let's say you get an audience, and part of the slides in the beginning, actually I'll show it to you. So you have, welcome, we're about to begin, and then we're gonna jump in and some simple requests. And we have this right up front. So we're sort of setting the tone. Remember, you wanna set the tone of the room. You wanna set the temperature in the room. So I put the slide up there for some simple requests, right? Hold your questions to the end. And people tend to respect that if you bring that up right in the beginning, unless they came in late and they missed the slide. Those are the people that tend to ask questions because you want it to go as smoothly as possible. So hold your questions to the end. We'll be happy to answer them at the end. Okay, take some notes, be happy to answer them at the end. So you're telling them you're gonna have the opportunity to ask questions and we'll answer them. And if you could turn your cell phones off or on vibrate, because it's like in a movie theater, be polite, put that off or on vibrate, and please don't talk or text, okay? So we set the tone, we set the rules in the room, and then the next slide that I have in my presentation, and you can change this too, is you put a picture of the presenter and just a little title. And that's the clue that the person's gonna come up and they're gonna start to edify. Now, the slide before it, you can have somebody read, you can just have it up on the screen, like when you're about to start, or a lot of times what I'll have is the edifier when they come up first, like if Caroline's gonna introduce me, so I'll have her read that first. It sort of sets the tone, it gets everybody, the chatter to come down in the room, gets the focus up on stage. She just goes through it very simply. Sometimes if I do it, I make a joke at the end, don't talk or text. They said, I had to put that in there because sometimes, people on my team, they start doing the demo from the back of the room, right? It's like my backseat driver. So what do? I had to make it a law. I had to make it a rule. So guys, no talking or texting, right? So you want to bring that humor in there. And then the next slide, you click up, boom, it's the presenter with a little title and so forth. And then we go into the slides, all right? So if you do have negative people or people start to really bother and ask questions, you got to keep your calm, grace under fire, and just say, listen, we'll be happy to answer it at the end. If they start to be, really, really belligerent, doesn't happen that often.
It happened to me my first big demo.
It happened to Caroline in her first big demo that she did by herself, and I wasn't even with her, but she handled it brilliantly. Okay, just say, listen, we'll be happy to answer it at the end. If they're really disruptive, have one of your teammates escort them out of the room or pull them aside and talk to them. It happens very rarely, but just grace under fire. Just, it's okay.
Don't get nervous.
Don't get nervous. And you don't have to be the expert. You don't have to know every single question that's going to be thrown at you. Okay? You just have to know where to find that answer. You have to know where the resources are. That's a great question. I don't have an answer for you right now. We're going to write it down, or one of my teammates, somebody's going to write that down. I'll get the answer for you. We'll get the answer. Make sure you leave your name, your name, number, and email. We'll get you the answer. But it's a great question. It's a great question. Always, always acknowledge them. Always acknowledge them. All right. Practice, practice, practice. I already said that. And so we're going to go. So the next training, we're at right about an hour. I wanted to keep it to an hour. The next training, we're going to start off right in the slide. So I wanted to have this whole preset first because it's very important to have your mindset, to have your organization, have your preparedness in the right place, before you go into it. All right. So that's what this is all about. Now, if you found value in this training today, okay, what we shared with you today, and we're going to go right into the next time, we're going to go right into each slide, why the slide is there, and what I present for that slide, what I say for that slide. If you'd like to continue on with this training, we've set up a training portal. All right. You're going to get several things when you sign up for that training portal. You're going to get, like I said, the slideshow presentation in 2 file formats, in Keynote for Apple and for PowerPoint. You're going to get all the PDFs, the supplies, the tech, the edification. I'm going to add in this whiteboard. Anything that comes along, we're going to add to that. And so Caroline is going to post into the chat, right? You have that?
Yeah.
The order form for this. Now, it's $99 for the year, and it'll renew every single year. But you will get updates as things change and things tweak, because it always tweaks. You will get updates throughout the year. They'll always be added to it. We have new trainings that come in for this particular demonstration. We will add that to that portal as well. More PDFs and anything that we create, we're going to add it to that. And like I said, we're going to set up a Facebook group, a private Facebook group, where you can ask questions, and we'll be happy to answer that.
And whenever you guys need training on.
Whenever you need training and that sort of, ask the questions. And once a month, we'll be doing a live training via webinar or a Zoom training, some kind of virtual conference, video conferencing, that sort of thing, where it would be more one-on-one. Okay, so we're going to add all that to it. So like I said, the cost is $99 for the year. You're getting all that stuff. You're getting access to us, and you have to realize that nobody does this business by themselves. It is a community. We are a family, and we support each other. And that's just who I am. If somebody has tech questions, I answer them. If somebody asks questions about any aspect of life, really, because I am a life coach. We are life coaches, business coaches, and strategists. So no matter what comes up, we'll give you access to that, and we'll be able to help a lot more people. So if you find value in that, if you're watching it live right now, she just put that link in the chat. If not, if you're watching the recording, just below this video, there's going to be a green button that says Get Started Now. Just click that. It'll bring you to the same place. So thank you, guys. Any questions right now, just drop them into the chat. We're going to collect those questions. We're going to answer them in the next training. So thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in.
What about the Facebook group? We'll add the people that were on here to the Facebook group?
Yeah. So we'll put that announcement out, because we got everybody's emails and stuff. We'll put that announcement out, and you'll have access to it.
Let's just answer a couple questions.
All right, let's answer a few questions.
Will the PDFs be in Spanish as well?
Right now, everything is in English. So that's a good question. I would love to see everything, done in several languages. So we could have them translated.
Actually, we could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't speak Spanish, so I can't do that.
No. We could get.
So we can have it translated Spanish, maybe French, whatever language, different languages. Right now the PowerPoints are in English, but again, we can have them translated. So I know Spanish is big, French is big, especially for our teammates and friends up in Canada. So we're going to grow this, and it's a good thing to have. Is have it in multiple languages.
Yeah.
What other questions?
This was so helpful. It confirmed a lot. Great techniques. How do we order? Labels, please. Okay, so I did post the label link.
So she's going to post again.
I'll
Post it again in the chat. You'll notice you can put a sticky note, chat. You click at the top of your control panel.
Okay, hold on.
No, on the control panel.
Okay.
You can post it on the control panel. Right at the top, she can put a sticky note. It'll stay. So as the chat scrolls, that will always stay at the top.
Okay.
Left column at the top.
Okay.
See, add sticky. So you see it?
Get sticky message.
Sticky message.
Yeah.
So post
Set
there.
Sticky message. Okay.
Yeah. Post the 2 links there.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Post the 2 links there.
I'll do
So
that right now.
we'll keep the chat open. Any more questions?
So the Body, Mind, and Spirit is where you can get the labels.
BodyMindSpiritTools.life. BodyMindSpiritTools.life. All one word. BodyMindSpiritTools.life is where you can get the labels. We've got the spray bottles. We got black bottles. We're going to be adding some more stuff as we do it. And we'll get the link out. Once we edit this and record it, we'll get this out because this is a free training. You can get this out to your team and we can promote that out. And then they can have access to the training portal. Any other questions coming up?
Let's see. I gotta figure that out after with it. I'll post the 2 things. Let's see. Great training. Julie Schwartz says she can help with the Spanish. Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
How do we order? Justina, how do we order what? I posted the link.
Okay, so I think just off the top of my head, I don't have it in front of me. You go to training.carlandcaroline.com.
I just posted.
Just posted in the chat?
Yeah.
Training.carlandcaroline.com/order-form. Order-form.
That's where the recording will be. That's where
you sign up for it, and then it'll take over from there. You set up your portal, and you log into it, and you'll have everything, all the access there. It's very, very clean. So training.carlandcaroline.com/order-form. So that's the link, and we'll send it out as an email as well if you didn't get that today. Any other questions?
order labels.
We're willing to stay on for a few more minutes. But we got the recording. We'll edit it up. Like you said, we'll get it together. You have it there?
Yeah.
She's still typing away. She's my controller.
Oops, I spelled labels wrong.
That's right.
Okay. I didn't think of that.
And then BodyMindSpiritTools.life is where you'll see you can see where the labels and all of that stuff. You can click on our we have an events link at the top. So sometimes when we're going around to different public places, doing public demos, you can always track us there. But like I said, we do a lot Facebook Live, so it doesn't matter where you are, you can tune in. And we got people all over the world watching our demos. So it's really exciting.
Okay, I think I know how to put a sticky message now.
Any other questions? We're going to close this up.
Great job, Carl. Is there a replay of this webinar? Can you answer that?
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we got the recording and we're going to clean it up, trim it up, make it nice and neat, put a little bow on it. And then once we have that, we'll send the link out to it. So you'll have that. But anybody that does sign up for the training and they get into their portal, it will also be loaded in there. So you can always get back to it over and over and over again. Part 2, we're going to jump right in with the slides. We're going to go slide by slide. We're going to talk about the mise en scène, why it's there, and the reason it's there in the arc, and then what I generally say on that slide. So you can watch that over and over and over again. So you can do this exactly.
All right. And also
exactly.
just give it quickly what I do not see your post with the links. It's in this chat.
It's in the chat.
It says scroll.
Yeah, just scroll in the chat. Did you get the sticky up?
I'm going to put in the sticky. I'm going to put the link.
So again, it's training.carlandcaroline.com. It's Carl with a C. carlandcaroline.com /order-form. Order-form. But look for it in the chat. If you're watching on your computer or on a mobile device, you should see have a chat screen. Sometimes you have to turn it on.
All right, just put it on the sticky note.
So now it should be at the top. If you won't scroll down, it should be at the top.
Yeah.
What did you put? Training.
You can't do 2 sticky notes though, huh?
It doesn't allow you?
No.
Okay.
So,
just do the one.
Yeah.
So to order the labels and stuff, again, it's bodymindspirittools.life,
Yeah.
Life.
Labels and bottles.
Labels, bottles,
And just tell them real quick what's coming. Did you already do that?
I'll do it again. So part 2 will be posted into your portal. Part 2, we're going to dive right into the slideshow. Just exactly like I do the demo, we're going to go slide by slide. So obviously we'll do it in real time, but it'll take longer because I'll be teaching as we go along. But step by step, we're going to show you step by step on how I do it. We're going to show you using the water, iodine, and vitamin C. That's so powerful because the visual right there. The reason I did that is because ORP can be a little bit intellectual and it goes over people's head. They don't really get it, or they confuse it with pH. But by when I came up with that, people just like, whoa, that's really great. I see that visual. So we're going to jump right into it.
And everybody's saying, Roberta is saying, looking forward to seeing you in Louisiana. Just quickly.
Absolutely. So if you're still on, we are going.
We got our Louisiana crew here.
That's right, our Louisiana crew. We're coming down to Covington, Louisiana, New Orleans area on June 1st, which is this coming Friday, a week from today. I'll be doing a True Health workshop at the Courtyard Marriott in Covington, Louisiana. And we'll be doing this demo, doing it live. So make sure if you're in that area, bring your guests, bring them there. Let's pack the house. And then on June 2nd, our very own Tamia Bethia Williams and I have teamed up, and we're doing a Build Your Dream workshop. It's a coaching workshop, and it goes from, I think, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's all day. And we're going to take you through a lot of different things.
You guys are in for a treat.
You're in for a treat. You're going to learn the 6 faculties, the gifts that we were born with that we're not using properly.
But life by design.
Life by design. We're going to teach you how to step into your own personal time machine so that you can create memories of your future. How powerful is that?
Yeah.
Right? And we're going to give you techniques and strategies and exercises. We're going to take you through a journey that whole day. And people really respond to it. They really opened up. And it just takes down those walls and those barriers, the stuff that's not even ours, that people, we learn. We learn from when we're born. And it's not our stuff. It's not our stuff. So we can start shedding those layers off of us. So it's an incredible, incredible event. So if you're around and in that area, you can also go to dream.bodymindspirittools.life, and that's where the event page is right there. Dream.bodymindspirittools.life. So we all look forward to seeing our Louisiana friends and eating some good gumbo and some good food and crawfish or whatever is the season.
Okay, so people are asking, how do we see the Facebook page? Just quickly talk about that.
Okay, Facebook page, I haven't even created it yet. So once we create that, I'll post that in your training portal. You'll have the link there, and then everybody, you'll have to be, you click on that, you'll subscribe to it, and then we'll have to approve it because it's a private group. So so once you get in there, the link will be there. Just give us a few days because we haven't created that yet. It's been an incredible week. We've been doing a lot of stuff. So
So all right. So it's 20 after.
Yeah.
And
so thank you everybody for coming.
And we can continue this conversation in the Facebook group.
Absolutely. We're going to continue the conversation, and any challenges that come up and so forth. We're here to answer all that.
And when is part 2?
Part 2 will be within next week. We want to record it before Louisiana. So we leave actually Thursday for Louisiana. So we want to have that recorded and put in there. We suspect there's going to be a part 3.
Yeah.
Because to get through this whole thing, in the live and moving through it fast, we get through it in about an hour 10.
I mean, and don't forget, there's newbies and there's seasoned people.
So we want to take our time.
To learn.
Right.
Right.
And we're going to record it the right way, train you the right way, take our time. So if you're, once you see the recording, you can skip through parts. I would say go through the whole thing. Right. So I imagine it's going to be 2 more trainings after this, but second part, we want to get it recorded before we go to Louisiana next week.
And then there'll be lots of other trainings.
Lots of other trainings.
And we could always you know,
expand on it.
yeah,
Expand.
exactly. It'll grow.
So any other questions, guys? Thank you so much for coming.
Love y'all.
And happy Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
Let's
Have a great
celebrate
weekend,
life.
guys.
God bless. And we love you all.
All
All right.
Ciao.
Ciao.